The morning I almost quit English again, for the third time, I wasn't tired, I wasn't busy.
I was scared. There was one page in my 504 vocabulary book I kept skipping every single day for 3 months.
Page 47.
I'd open the book each morning. I'd flip through words I already knew. Abandon, abash, abate. Safe words, easy words, words that didn't threaten me. But page 47? I couldn't. My fingers would glide past it like it was coated in fire. I sat there for 20 minutes, book open, and didn't move. Not because the word was hard. I hadn't even looked at it yet. I didn't know what word was waiting for me on that page. Because I knew what would happen. The pattern was burned into me. I'd try, I'd fail, I'd feel stupid, and I'd prove to myself what I already believed. That I wasn't made for this. That some people can learn languages and some people can't. And I was the second kind. That was the moment I almost quit. Again. So what changed? What made me finally turn that page instead of closing the book forever? That's what we're about to get into. Let me take you back to the first time I quit. Not the near miss, the real one. I joined this language institution, paid money I didn't have, 3 months of savings, gone in one registration fee. Sat in classes with bright lights and expensive books that smelled like hope. New notebooks, colorful pens, big dreams. And learned nothing. Not a little. Nothing. Zero. I couldn't understand movies, couldn't read street signs, couldn't have a simple conversation without freezing like a deer in headlights. One night, after another class where I understood nothing, I sat on my bed and made a decision. I told myself out loud, English isn't for you. Some people can learn languages. You're not one of them. Accept it and move on. For months, that was my story. The person who tried and failed. The person who quit. I avoided everything English. Changed my phone back to my language, skipped English songs, walked out of movies if they didn't have dubbing. But the 504 vocabulary book stayed on my shelf. I couldn't throw it away. It sat there like a question I refused to answer.
Page 47 stayed.
There was one word on that page I was terrified of. I didn't even know what it was. I never let myself see it. I'd flip to page 46, read a word there, then close the book, satisfied that I'd studied. That's the thing about fear. It doesn't need a reason. It doesn't need to be rational. It just needs a place to hide. A dark corner where it can whisper to you every day. And page 47 was mine. I sat there that morning, ready to quit forever. But then something shifted. I'll tell you what. Here's what I didn't understand back then. What no book told me. What no teacher explained. The idea of doing the hardest thing first, it's not new. You've heard it 1,000 times. Eat the frog. Do the worst task before noon. Everyone talks about it like it's simple. But when your hardest thing is a language you've already failed at, just do it first sounds like a joke, a cruel joke. I thought my hardest thing was English, the whole language, 500 books, thousands of words, grammar rules I'd never heard of, pronunciation that made no sense. It wasn't. My hardest thing was one page, one word. One moment of looking at it and not running away. That's the rule that saved me. Not do the hardest thing first. That was too big, too vague, too easy to trick myself. Just do the thing you're running from, right now, this second, before you can talk yourself out of it. No planning, no preparing, no, I'll do it after coffee, no, I need to warm up first. Just turn the page before your brain catches up and finds another excuse. Because your brain is good at excuses. Really good. It's had a lifetime of practice. Mine told me for 3 months that I wasn't ready for page 47.
that I needed to study more easy words first, that tomorrow would be better.
Tomorrow never came, because tomorrow is not a day, it's an idea, and ideas don't turn pages.
That's the theory. But here's the real question. How do you actually do this when every cell in your body is screaming, run? How do you move when fear has its hands on your shoulders, pushing you back?
There's a line I read somewhere. I don't remember the book. I don't remember the author. I don't even remember if I read it or heard it.
But it stayed with me, burrowed into my brain like a seed waiting for rain. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the judgment that something else is more important. I thought about page 47, about the word I'd never let myself see, about all the mornings I'd sat in that chair, hand hovering, heart pounding. I was terrified. The fear was there, real, loud. It had a voice, and that voice was very convincing.
But something else was more important.
Not fluency, not success, not becoming someone else, not proving anything to anyone. Just knowing, just needing to know if I could face it. Just curiosity about what was on that page. That quote stayed with me. It became a kind of anchor. And then, that morning, it showed up when I needed it most. That morning, I remember because I kept checking the clock, hoping it would magically become a later time when I'd feel more ready. The book was open. Not to page 47, to a safe page, page 12. I'd been doing this for weeks, opening to safe pages, reading words I already knew, pretending I was studying when really I was hiding. But page 47 was right there, 20 pages away. I could feel it, like a weight in the room. I'd flip close to it, page 45, page 46, then flip back to safety, like touching something hot and pulling away. My tea was cold. I don't know when it went cold, and I hadn't taken a single sip. And then I heard myself say something, out loud, my own voice in that empty room, surprising me. If I close this book now, I'll never open it again. I didn't plan to say it, it just came out, like my brain finally telling the truth. That was the moment, the stakes, not abstract anymore, not someday I'll regret this. Right now, this second, I could close it, walk away, tell myself I tried, become the person who quit English forever. The story would be over. Or I could turn the page, face whatever was there. Fail, maybe, but at least know. My hand was shaking when I finally turned the page. Not a little, shaking like I was cold, but I wasn't cold. I was terrified. The page turned. Dust particles danced in the morning light like they'd been waiting for this moment. Word number 1 on page 47, daunting. I read the definition. Seeming difficult to deal with. Intimidating. I laughed. A strange, broken laugh that surprised me. Of course the word was daunting. What else would it be? The universe has a sense of humor. I read the first sentence. Didn't understand it. Read it again. Still didn't understand. I almost stopped. My hand actually started to close the book. The thought was right there. See? You can't even understand the example. This was a mistake. But I didn't. I read the second sentence. Nothing. I read the third sentence. Again. Slower. One word at a time. And something strange happened that I still can't explain. I understood it. Not every word, but the feeling, the meaning. The sentence was about a mountain that looked impossible to climb, impossibly steep, dangerously high, and someone climbed it anyway. Not because they were special, because they started. I sat there, in that chair, with cold tea and shaking hands, and I understood something for the first time in months.
That moment changed something, but I didn't understand why until I learned what it's called. That there were words for what I was feeling, for what I'd done, for the thing that happened in that chair.
I didn't know them then, but I know them now, and that changes everything.